In this video, we're going to look at how to create a post archive with some filters using Etch and FacetWP. So we'll just jump into Etch and start by adding a section. Inside the section, we're going to want two flex divs for our columns. I've already set up some columns, so if we give this a class of container, we will get our grid here. I'm going to save at this point and jump into Gutenberg to add our shortcode for the filters. So right in here, we're going to need a shortcode. But first, we need to know what the shortcode is. So we'll jump over to FacetWP. They automatically set up this categories facet, and we will just use it. I like to turn on show ghosts so you can see what other filters are available, even if they're not selected. And we'll just copy the shortcode, go back over here, and we're going to add a shortcode block and put our facet in it. Then we'll go back and check where that ended up. We actually want it inside of this div. And we will save. We'll go back and edit with Etch, and now we see we have this pass-through block set up automatically. So now let's, in our second column, we want to give this a class of grid2, which this is using the automatic CSS framework, and I forgot to give it a dot at the beginning. Grid2. And so inside here, we're going to have a loop. And our loop, we will use, this is basically the default post loop, but I've changed the post per page to 200 so that we're not dealing with any pagination. And this is the important part right here. I've set FacetWP to true. So that tells FacetWP, hey, you can edit this loop as needed. Inside our loop, we will add another flex div. These will be our article cards. And inside of each article card, we'll have an image and a heading. And inside the heading, well, we don't really need to do this, but we will add, we'll add a link. So we'll delete the heading text. I'm not actually going to make this go anywhere right now. And this text will be the title. So item.title. And this image will be the featured image. So that will be item.featured image. And then let's actually add some BEM classes. I already styled them at least a little. And then let's also, for this H2, that's pretty big. So let's give it a class of H4, which is another class that's coming from automatic CSS. I don't actually want this to go the full width, so instead of right here, I'm going to make this margin right. And then we will save. Now, let's look in the editor, see what we have. It looks like I forgot to save the shortcode. So my guess is on the front end, yeah, we're missing the shortcode. Let's go back to FacetWP, grab the shortcode, and see if we can paste it in here. For some reason, it looks like the cursor, I can't get the cursor outside of item title. This could be because I'm using Firefox, and Etch hasn't really tested as much in that. Let's go back in. I'm curious if it has to do with absolutely positioning this. So I'm going to just get rid of the class on this. And then, although I guess this was the one that had the absolute positioning. There we go. So now let's go back to here and see if it's still, yeah, there we go. I don't know if it was the absolute positioning or if I just happened to click right. But if we go back into Etch, let's add our article card heading. And this will need to be article card again. And we will save that. And the last thing we need to do is we need to add on this element here an extra class so that the FacetWP JavaScript knows where the loop is. So this will be FacetWP -template. And if we save that, I believe we should be able to use this. So there we go. Some of these languages exist in the Americas and in Europe. So we can have multiple facets going on. And that's all there is to it.